Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. It's Monday morning, November 17th. I want to thank you guys for joining us on what this is now week 4 of The Greatest Salesman in the World. A couple of things to talk about with this one is I was first given this book when I was in sales. I was in automotive sales. I was actually one of the managers by a friend of mine, and I was actually his manager, but he gave it to me and shared it with me. And I'm embarrassed to tell you that I had the book for 7 years before I read it. It sat on the bookshelf in my office. It was just there. It was a book that was given to me, and I just never got around to reading it. And 7 years later, I don't know if I was cleaning up. I don't must have been doing some spring cleaning in the office. I saw the book, picked it up, and I'm like, oh man, Captain Ron gave me this book. That was my friend. That was his nickname, Captain Ron. And I picked it up and I read it. And I read about, I don't know, 20 minutes worth that day, and I finished it over that week. And I thought, my God, why didn't I read this 7 years ago? And the reality was that I wasn't ready to read it when I was given the book. So I had it for 7 years before I read it. So I'm going to share my screen. And if a lot of you have not read this book, don't feel bad. I actually had the book given to me and didn't read it for 7 years. Everybody in this morning's email, what you see on your screen is the PDF copy. It's a free copy of the book. I also attached this, which is 32 pages, which is the scrolls of the book. And then I wanted to show you that on YouTube, there's actually people that have recorded themselves reading the book. And if you do the entire book, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. And that's with the author, not the author, that's with the person reading it with some introductions and some input. It's 2 hours long. If you do just the scrolls on YouTube, if you want to just have this playing in the background, have somebody read it to you, it is an hour and 2 minutes long for just the scrolls. And so there's a lot of ways to get this information in your brain to read it. As my email said, this is week 4, so we're covering scroll 7 and 8. Next week is the last week. Next week is Thanksgiving week, and we're ending it with scroll 9 and 10 next week, and that'll be the end. Then we'll continue with another book, and that'll be a different manager that'll choose that book. I got to choose this book because we started this again with Mike Allen and going over the book club with his personal book that he wrote. And I just thought that the information here is something that'll help you both in your personal life and in your professional life. And it was written in such a way that I thought everybody could understand it. We could all read the same page and we can all take different information from that page. And so, in having the book club, I just thought it was really important that we get participation if you're up for it. So, because we're all going to have a different interpretation of what's on the page. But let's start with this one. Scroll mark 7. I will laugh at the world. And so I'll start with the reading, and then when I get tired, I'll ask for some help. But if anybody's willing to help, just raise your hand or unmute yourself. I will laugh at the world. No living creature can laugh except man. Trees may bleed when they are wounded, and beasts in the field may cry in pain and hunger. Yet only I have the gift of laughter, and it is mine to use however I choose. Henceforth, I will cultivate the habit of laughter. I will smile, and my digestion will improve. I will chuckle, and my burdens will lighten. I will laugh, and my life will be lengthened. For this is the greatest secret of a long life, and now it is mine. I will laugh at the world. And this is where I want to pause. This is the important thing about breaking it down in a book club is let me make it very relatable, hopefully, to some of you. How many of you have ever gotten a bad phone call or a bad news or gotten nervous over something and instantly you're sick to your stomach over whatever's come up, right? Bad, how many like bad information or something. We a lot of us unfortunately had that phone call. And what happens is you genuinely get sick. You feel sick to your stomach, right? And so your emotions and your feelings have a lot to do with your health. And I love going to movies. I love going to comedy shows. And one of the last ones that I went to, not one of the last ones, the very last one that I attended live was actually at the casino in Porterville, and it was Joe Coy. Joe Coy is a comedian that I've been listening to and kind of sharing his story for the last 8 or 9 years. And I don't know how many of you know of Joe Coy. He's half Filipino, half white American, and his dad was in the military, ended up in the Philippines, and his dad wasn't in the picture very much, but he's a very relatable comedian. And one of the things that he said when he was on stage in Porterville was that laughter is free. I mean, not tonight because not that night because we were all paying to be there. He said, but you can think back to the jokes and laugh later. And that's the reality of life is that if you are a worry word, if you're somebody who's always worried about life, somebody who's always looking at the negative things, the reality is you can actually shorten your lifespan. And so by just having a good and bright outlook on life and not letting people get into your psyche and staying positive and laughing and having more good times and making a decision, because being happy is a decision, laughing is a decision, it can actually make you feel healthier, make you feel happier, make you feel better. And it says it even here that even your digestion will improve. And those are facts because we've all been sick to our stomach over bad news, but the opposite is also true. And so I'll continue to read. I will laugh at the world, and most of all, I will laugh at myself, for man is most comical when he takes himself not too seriously. Never will I fall into this trap of mind, for though I will be nature's greatest miracle, I am not still a mere grain tossed about by the winds of time. So it's saying, hey, look, yes, in this book, I've told you you're the greatest miracle. Yes, we're humans. We're the only ones that have the ability to make decisions and to do things, but we can't take ourselves too seriously. We have to continue to just realize that we're just human. We're going to make mistakes, and you have to live life and keep moving forward. So let's continue. Do I truly know where I came from or whether I'm bound? So do you know where you come from or where you're going? The answer is no, right? Will my concern for this day seem too foolish 10 years later? Why should I permit the petty happenings of today to disturb me? What can take place before the sun sets, which will not seem insignificant at the river of the centuries? So can you think of something that stressed you out 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, something that at the moment really stressed you out? Maybe you were planning your wedding, maybe you were planning a birthday party, maybe it was a transaction you were working on that was just this really big deal. Maybe you think back to your very first transaction or one of your first ones where something went wrong and it felt like the whole world was falling apart, yet you got through it, yet you survived, right? And so this is what it's telling you is that years down the road or months down the road, it's not such a big deal. But in the moment, it feels like the biggest thing in the world. And so no matter what it is, remember, put it into perspective. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to really hurt you. And just keep moving forward. So I will laugh at the world. And how can I laugh when when confronted with man or with deed which offends me so as they bring forth my tears or my curses? Four words will I train myself to say until they become a habit strong, and immediately they will appear in my mind. Whenever good humor threatens to depart from me, these words passed down from the ancients will carry me through every adversity and maintain my life in a balance. These four words are, this too shall pass. And we've all heard that. So no matter what you're going through, no matter how bad it seems, this too shall pass. Now, unfortunately, this too shall pass also goes for good things. Real estate is up and it's down. And during, COVID was a really terrible thing that happened. And the lockdown, it was something that hopefully none of us will ever see again, right? It was a true worldwide pandemic and the only one that anybody ever alive has ever experienced. And so this too shall pass. But the bright thing of that for anybody in real estate was that there was a lot of business because rates went down. So again, negative, positives, all kind of merged together. So I will laugh at the world, for all worldly things shall indeed pass. And when I am heavy with heartache, I shall console myself that this too shall pass. When I am puffed with success, I shall warn myself that this too shall pass. When I am strangled in poverty, I shall tell myself that this too shall pass. When I am burdened with the wealth, that I shall tell myself that this too shall pass. Yea, verily will, sorry, I'm making it blue so it's hard to read. Yea, verily, where is he who built the pyramids? Is he not buried within its stone? And will the pyramid one day not also be buried under sand? If all things shall pass, why should I be concerned for today? And that's what it's telling you. Look, you're going to have a lot of success, and that's going to pass. There's going to be down times, and that's going to pass. Remember to live in the moment, to not take yourself too seriously, to remember to be fun, have fun, and to not let the world bring you down because the world can bring you down. I will laugh at the world. I will paint this day with laughter. I will frame this night in song. Never will I labor to be happy. Rather, I will remain too busy to be sad. I will enjoy today's happiness today. It's not a it's not a grain to be stored in a box. It is not wine to be saved in a jar. It cannot be saved for tomorrow. It must be sown and reaped on the same day, and I will do henceforth just that. So you have to remember, When something crosses your mind that you're struggling with, try to remember a good happy thought, something that brings you some light, something that brings you some lightness, something that brings a smile to your face. Think of a memory that you've had, with a loved one, with your kids, with a spouse, with a family member, with a client, just something that has made you smile. And for me, that's typically very easy. I think of, when my kids were young, my youngest one is 23 now. When they were young, everybody was giving us parenting advice, especially when we had our first daughter, right? Everybody's telling you how to do it. You're doing it. Everybody has advice. But one thing that we heard from everybody that was older from us, everybody who had been there before, everybody who was at least a decade or two older than us, was enjoy it because it goes by so quick. And it didn't feel like it was going by quick because we had one, then we had two, then we had three, and you get stuck just in daily routines, right? In existing and making ends meet. And when they say it goes by so fast, I didn't realize that it would literally go by so fast because it felt like it was going so slow. It felt like we had the daily struggles of life. And so it's telling you here that you can't save happiness and laughter for tomorrow. You got to enjoy it when you can. Think of the good memories because from this day forward, you'll have to learn to laugh at the world because the world will challenge you. And with this laughter, all things will need to be reduced to their proper size. I will laugh at my failures, and they will vanish in the clouds of new dreams. I will laugh at my successes, and they will shrink to their true value. So again, don't blow yourself up. Don't get a big ego. I will laugh at evil, and it will die untasted. I will laugh at goodness, and it will thrive and bound and grow. Each day will be triumphant. Only when my smile brings forth smiles from others, and this I do in selfishness. For those whom I frown are those who purchase not my goods. So you're in sales. You guys are in service of some kind, right? We're in real estate. And so remember that when you're having a bad day, people can feel your energy. So when you're having a bad day, remember to snap yourself out of it, put your problems at the door when you walk into the office, because when you're not feeling it, your clients will feel it and not want to do business with you. But when you're happy and they want to be around you and your energy is positive, they want to be around you. They will want to do business with you. They will like you. They will trust you. And so that's a key here. So I will laugh at the world. Henceforth, I will shed only tears of sweat. For those of sadness or remorse or frustration are of no value in the marketplace. Whilst each smile can be exchanged for gold, each kind word spoken from my heart can build a castle. And so again, just keep it positive. Make sure you're not talking negative about people. Make sure that you're building people up and only doing real things that are going to move you in the right direction of success. Never will I allow myself to become so important, so wise, so dignified, so powerful that I forget how to laugh at myself in my world. In this matter, I will always remain as a child, for only as a child am I given the ability to look up to others. And so long as I look up to another, I will never grow too long for my cot. So what it's telling you here is, can you think of even yourself or as your kids or somebody else's kid? They're always asking why, but why, but why, and they're always so curious about life. And as we grow up, we tend to get jaded with life, and we don't keep asking the questions as why. But what it's telling you here is stay as a child, given the ability to look up to others. So we never really truly know it all. I mean, I have learned from some brand new agents that come into the business and they think of business just slightly different or in a different way. And so they have this new approach to try to maybe knock on a door, a different flyer, a different marketing thing, a different idea for a letter, a different idea for a social media post. I'm thinking, man, that's brilliant. Maybe I'm so closed off to the way I used to think about things that I never thought about this different idea. And so I am learning from people in the business, outside the business. I try to bring things from outside the business in, but I learn from people with not a lot of experience all the time. And obviously, I learn from those with a lot of experience. Those are some of my favorite people to talk to, is because I want to glean as much information as I can from them. And so, just a reminder, I will laugh at the world. And so long as I can laugh, never will I be poor. This then is one of the nature's greatest gifts, and I will taste it no more. Only with laughter and happiness can I truly become a success. Only with laughter and happiness can I enjoy the fruits of my labor. Were it not so far, or far better, let me read that again. Were it not so, far better would it be to fail. For happiness is the wine that sharpens the taste of a meal. To enjoy success, I must have happiness and laughter, and will be the maiden who serves me. And laughter will be the maiden who serves me. So again, every meal tastes better when you're having a good time, regardless of how hard it took you to get that deal done. And isn't it great when you work really hard to put a deal together, when it finally closes? Doesn't that feel great? Even if it's not a big deal, it just feels great to get that closed. So I will be happy, I will be successful, and I will be the greatest salesman that the world has ever known. So does this talk to anybody as we're going through this? Does anybody have any stories to share of something that maybe you thought was a big deal? Your first time that the property didn't make value, that appraisal was low. I mean, can anybody share a story like that? Does anybody have anything like that that they can relate this to? I'm going to go into the chat and what I have here. Let's see. Charlie read on by side says stress is real and hurtful. However, looking back, it did pass. Years ago, I was at a social function and speaking to a woman who was also attending the function. We started talking about the market, and I responded in a very positive way. Days later, she called me to offer to list a commercial property in the mall that her company owned. I didn't know who she was when we first met, but you just never know. So again, it's having that positive outlook. So Charlie, thank you for sharing that. But again, we all have, similar ideas and similar messages, but when you're having a good time or when you have a positive message, people will want to be around you, and that's important. Anybody else? I don't know if you're able to unmute yourselves, but if you want to go ahead, and if Sandra, go for it.
Um, well, this is a little off the wall, but kind of reminds me of this. I was reading a story about it was an elephant and a mouse that went across this really rickety old bridge, and the bridge felt like it was gonna fall and they were gonna, it was just gonna collapse. And
Yeah.
they got over the side, and the mouse looked at the elephant and said, "Wow, we really shook things up, huh?" And it just kind of reminds me that we all have different perspectives.
Yeah, we all have a different
That
take of
makes
life.
sense to you. It
It
just
does,
kind
and
of
we all have a
reminds me
different
of that old
experience.
story.
You know, I didn't realize that this was today's scroll. So I was reading it this morning on the way, and I'm thinking, man, this to me has a lot of value, right now. And we all can get caught up in life. We all can get caught up in things that are out of our control. And so you just got to remember, control what you can, keep moving forward. You can't make everybody happy, but you just got to keep moving forward. You got to
But
stay positive. You got to look back at things,
we
that at
can
the time
control
felt
our perspective. So,
no, and this too
we
shall pass.
can.
I mean, I have there's eight siblings in my family. I'm second youngest. I have one sister, and then there's seven brothers all in a row, right? And I'm second youngest. And now that we talk as adult, we all have different perspectives of growing up in the same house. We all grow up in the same house, but however, we're all different ages. So when we talk about a certain time or experience, we all have a different view or opinion of it because we were all at different ages at the time that that happened. And so, where you're at in life, you can take things with a grain of salt, or you can take it and really say, huh. And so, looking back at things, you can say, hey, that wasn't a big deal, that this too shall pass. And so, when you're challenged with something, remember, this too shall pass. And so, more importantly, enjoy the small successes, the small wins, allow yourself to be happy. Don't let your ego get too big to where you think you're untouchable. Don't let your ego get to the point where you're not enjoying the small things in life. And so, one of my favorite things to do is every morning get up and take a walk. And we don't have our steps at the end of the day. My wife and I go on a walk in the evening to complete our steps. And that gives me this feeling of I've accomplished it. If I go to bed without all my steps, I feel like I've missed out on something. Carmen, you have your hand up.
Yes, and one thing I learned is that people see the world through their own lens and perspective.
Yeah.
And sometimes, it could be like that Greek mythology theory that they bring their own demise because they have this perspective in their mind that you have no clue of, right?
Yeah.
We don't understand that and have no idea what they're thinking, and yet it's all in their head. So I think that's something important that I need to remember sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good point to make. Thank you, Carmen. As you were saying that, one thing that's coming to mind, is I don't watch a lot of TV anymore. There's a few shows that I watch, but it's come up even on social media. As commercials play on social media or commercials play sometimes on YouTube. But I've seen it on TV, and I've now seen it on online commercials. And it's a commercial that's out right now, and it's a Ford commercial, which is perfect because the quote that they're quoting in Ford is Henry Ford's quote, and it shows a lot of people doing really cool things, playing sports, racing, and it's all car related. And it said somebody once said, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right." And that's a Henry Ford quote, and it's a Ford commercial. And I think it's just perfect for today's time, right? Whether you think you can or you can't, either way, you're right. And so, whatever you believe about yourself will become true. And so, stay positive, stay curious, stay hungry, and keep moving forward and be somebody who has a positive outlook on life. Look, if life has challenged you and it's hard to be happy, do the best that you can to have a positive mindset. We're good with that? Anybody else have a story to share? Make sure I don't have anything on chat. Let me take a look. Nothing else in there. Anybody else? No? Do I have any volunteers to read part of this one? This one says, "Today I will multiply my value 100-fold." And this is scroll number 8.
I can read it. Let me try to make it bigger because I can't see too great. Okay. Today I will multiply my value 100-fold. A mulberry leaf touched with the genius of man became silk. A field clay touched with the genius of man became a castle. A cypress tree with the genius of man became a shrine. A cut of sheep's hair touched with the genius of man became, what is it? I can't
Raiment
see
for a
that.
king, a cloak for a king.
Oh, raiment for a king. If it is possible for leaves and clay and wood and hair to have their value multiplied 100, yeah, 1,000-fold by man, cannot I do the same with the clay which beams by my name?
Perfect. And then read this last sentence here.
Today I will multiply my value 100-fold.
Thank you for reading that. And what it's telling you here, it's first setting you up for the rest of the script and for the rest that was in the book, is it's telling you just facts. A mulberry leaf, that's where the silkworms grow, become silk, right? So on their own, they're nothing, but through the genius or time revolution or the skill set, they become more value. And so your scripts in real estate, when you're first doing your first deal in real estate, you can think back of how you handled your very first transaction and how unprepared you were compared to how you feel about it now. Maybe your first listing presentation compared to how you do it now. Maybe the first time you helped a buyer or an investor. Think about the first few times and how much more skills do you have now? And how much better are you at it now? And what are the prices now compared to when you first started? Is life not a little bit easier now for you that you have this experience? Yes, it's normal to feel nervous about it, but what you have to value is that with time and practice, you become more valuable. I heard it from a home inspector who said he was called, and he's a home inspector, he's a general contractor, he has a whole bunch of licenses, and he said he got a call, and this family was really, really frustrated that they had this roof leak that nobody could fix, and they had called a roofer out, and the roof was just a few years old on this house, and he couldn't find the leak. Yet anytime somebody that it would rain, they would get this drip that would just constant. And so that roofer couldn't, so they called another roofing company and they couldn't find it. They ended up going through like 3 or 4 roofers and nobody could find this leak. And somebody gave them this guy's name. And so this guy being told these stories that now he was the 4th or 5th person that was going out there. This is a real story, by the way. This is really happened. This is in Porterville. He was stunned, but he was like, okay, well, I'm glad you called me. And he got up in the attic with his flashlight, and he noticed that one of the trusses was stained dark from the it had gotten discolored from the rain constantly hitting, because this is over the period of over more than a year. And so he was like, man, there's obviously a leak. It wasn't active when he was called. They called him because it was going to get ready to rain and they were concerned they were going to have another leak. And he was kind of stumped. He couldn't see anything going on. And so he called, he works with at that time with his son, and his son, they went outside with a water hose, and he said, I want you to hit this area of the roof with a water hose. And so they hit it with a water hose. It wasn't happening. They just kept hitting it with a roof. He went back into the attic. He said, hey, just keep spraying this area. And so he got on this phone talking to his son that was outside. And eventually, after hitting the roof for a long time with a water hose, he noticed a pinhole that was just there, and it wouldn't leak at the beginning, but eventually it would leak when it got saturated. And so he marked it. He went in, he put something from the inside of the attic out to through the hole so they could find it from the outside, and then they repaired it. And then he talked to the homeowners and he said, hey, look, this was really hard to find. He says, is there a chance that something fell on your roof or that something happened? He says, yeah, a couple of years back we had the tree prune and one of the branches hit it, and there was just one little hole, and it took forever. But they paid him, they happily paid him. He said they were so happy they wanted to pay him a lot more than what he was charging. But it was just, again, he was the fourth or fifth person to be out there. But that was through skills, experience, and knowledge, and just thinking a little bit differently. And think of yourself now, whether you've been in real estate for a few years. Do you have more experience now? Do you have more value in the marketplace now? If you can't relate to that analysis because maybe you're new to real estate, think about this. When you first started driving, how nervous were you? When you drive now, do you still get as nervous? Do you have a better skill set? Right? It's the same. And so as you get more experience, your value goes up in the marketplace. So why is it that you still agree to take a 2.5% commission? Why is it that you're not asking for 3 or 3.5? Don't sell yourself short. You're worth more money. And if you're new to this, what are you going to do to get better at this marketplace? Are you going to train yourself? Are you going to read the contract so you finally understand it the right way? Are you going to read some scripts so you're better at those? Are you going to get better through experience in real time, meaning make mistakes with real customers? Or would it make more sense to practice the scripts and read the contracts on your own to be ready for some of those conversations with your customers? I'd rather practice on my own and with agents and get better in the office and to make a real mistake out in the field that might cost me some real money. Any other volunteers to read this next paragraph? It's just about 5 lines, everybody.
I can do it.
Thank you.
I'm likened to a grain of wheat, which faces one of 3 features. The wheat can be placed in a sack and dumped in a stall until it is fed to swine, or it can be ground to flour and made into bread, or it can be placed in the earth and allowed to grow until its golden head divides and produces 1,000 grains for the one. I'm likened to a grain of wheat with one difference. The wheat cannot choose whether it be fed to swine, ground for bread, or planted to multiply. I have a choice, and I will not let my life be fed to swine and despair, to be broken open, devoured by the will of others.
Love it. So today I will multiply my value 100-fold. So thank you for reading that. This is really, really powerful. We've all heard the analogy, and maybe you've seen the memes, or at least I hope you have. If not, maybe I can pull it up. It's that iron on its own has a certain value. When it's made into a horseshoe, it has this value, maybe a little bit more. When it's made into springs for watches, for example, then it goes up 1,000 times or 100,000 times. So it's all in what you're giving it. So when somebody is working with you, are they getting the most value for working with you that is possible? How trained are you? How good are you at your skill set? How good are you at what you're supposed to be doing for your clients? If you're not there yet, then here it is. I have a choice. And I will not be myself allowed to be fed to swine. I'm not going to have the lowest value. I'm not going to just exist in life. And I'm not going to despair and be broken open and made into flour or devoured by the will of others. I'm going to multiply my value 100-fold and learn what I'm supposed to learn so that I can have the most value for my customers and clients so that they tell their customers and clients and they want to do business with me. And those are planting the seeds. How many of us farm a neighborhood? You're planting the seed so people will reach back out to you. And in doing a great job for your clients, that's exactly what you're doing. You're planting the seeds of you are a great person to do business with, and will they tell everybody? No, but if somebody asks, but a few of them will tell somebody else. An unhappy customer will tell everybody. An unhappy person, sorry if there's any Karens on the line. If your name is Karen, I apologize. I'm not picking on you, but that's the term that's being used the last like 5 years, right? If there's a Karen, they'll tell everybody all the negative stuff about you. But will a happy customer tell everybody? No. Look, we send surveys to almost every single customer if we have their email, yet only a few of them return it. Because when somebody has a positive experience, it's what they expected, it's what they wanted from you. So they're not telling the entire world because you did your job. You actually have to ask them, hey, please give me the referral or the survey back. It means a lot to me. And we have to encourage them and we have to push them. I mean, look, how many of you go to fast food restaurants for lunch? I mean, I do. And I know that when I go to like Jack in the Box at the end of the receipt, there's like, fill out this survey for a friend for a free taco, or Taco Bell does it too, right? Get this survey and we'll give you something for free. They're giving you free food and still people won't do it.
Mhm.
In our business, referrals are really important, and we can't give away free tacos. Maybe you want to, maybe you can, but the point being, an unhappy person will tell 1,000 people. A happy client might tell one or two, but more importantly, if you ask them for the referral, or if you ask them like, "Hey, will you write a little referral for me, or can I use you as a reference?" If they say yes, then sometimes you got to use that to grow. And so as we move forward here, it says to grow and multiply, it is necessary to plant the wheat grain in the darkness of the earth. And my failures, my despairs, and my ignorance, and my inabilities are the darkness in which I have been planted in order to ripen. So whenever you're challenged, whenever something is gone the wrong way, whenever a deal didn't go all the way through, remember, you have to get a seed and plant it in the ground where it's buried, where you bury things that are no longer living. And then with the right environment, with some moisture, some sun, some water, it sprouts roots and it grows. And so it's telling you to look at some of the failures you have had, not as failures, but rather the planting that you needed in order to grow. So now, like wheat grain, which will sprout and blossom if it's nurtured with rain, sun, and warm winds, I too must nurture my body and mind to fulfill my dreams. But to grow to full stature, the wheat must wait to on the whims of nature. I need not wait, for I have the power to choose my own destiny. So again, when you plant something in the ground, it will grow, but it will grow at whatever time it is supposed to grow. Like you can't grow a pumpkin in the middle of summer. Like you can't plant it right now. It's too late. If you wanted pumpkins and you go and plant them in October, it's too late. You should have planted them at the end of summer to have them for October. And so you got to know when your harvest is. And so if you're growing things, if you're a farmer, everything has its time and place. But you are not a plant. You are not fruit. You don't have to wait for the power. You have the power to choose your own destiny. You can make a decision whenever you're ready to make a decision to become better at what you do. You can make a decision at any point in time to say, you know what? I'm tired of the way things have been going. I want more. I can do more, be more, have more, and I'm ready to do it today. So today I will multiply my value 100-fold. And how will I accomplish this? First, I would set goals for the day, the week, then the month, then the year, and then my life. And just as the rain must fall before the wheat will crack its shield and sprout, so must I have objectives before my life will crystallize. In setting my goals, I will consider my best performance of the past and multiply it in 100-fold. This will be the standard by which I will live in the future. Never will I be concerned that my goals are too high, for it is not better to aim my spear at the moon and strike only an eagle than to aim my spear at the eagle and strike only a rock. So what it's telling you here, it's okay to have big dreams. It's okay to shoot for the moon, right? It's okay to shoot for the stars. You might land on the moon, or in this case, whatever it is for you. So what goals is it that you have? But first, I mean, it's telling you, how do you increase your value 100 for? First, set goals for the day. That's it. What is your goal for the day? You know what, Mike? I haven't made some phone calls to previous customers in a while. Today I will make 5 phone calls to previous customers. Or today I will have 5 conversations, not phone calls. I will have 5 conversations with previous customers. So I won't consider today a success unless I talk to 5 people today. And if I could do that today on Monday, maybe my goal for the week is to talk to 12 people or to 10 people. Maybe I can get half of it done today, and maybe the rest of the week is easier. Or maybe I do 5 today, 5 tomorrow, and 5 all, for 4 days. Maybe you're going to reach to 20 people. You see, right now is the perfect time to set some goals and to get back in contact with the customers you haven't gotten in contact with because the holidays are coming up. It's a great excuse to call them. It's a great reason. Hey, you know what? We're coming up on Thanksgiving real soon. I just want to see how you were doing. Want to apologize for not keeping in contact with you. Let you know that I'm still in real estate. I hope you're doing well. Are you still in the same house? Well, fantastic. Have you outgrown it? Do you feel like upsizing, downsizing? How's everything going for you? Well, look, from my family to yours, we wish you happy holidays and we hope you guys are all doing well. And just a great excuse for a phone call this time of year. And so, first, what is your goal for the day? Second of all, once you get done with the day, so today's a success, what's your goal for the week? Then what's your goal for this month? What's the goal for the remaining part of the year? Look, we have 1.5 months left. And out of that, we have Thanksgiving. We have Black Friday is another holiday in my house. Then we have Christmas. Then we have New Year's. I mean, it is a whole deal. And so, how many of these 45 days are you going to work? We're close Thanksgiving. Almost nobody shows up on Black Friday. Christmas, the day before, maybe the day after. Then there's New Year's. I mean, technically that's January 1st. But out of those 45 days, there's already 5 days that you're off. And out of these next 45 days, that's what, 8 weeks? Out of these 8 weeks, you have weekends. A lot of you like to take Sundays or Saturdays half off or whatever it is. The rain probably didn't make you want to go knock on some doors. So, how many days are you going to work in the next 45 days? Are you going to work 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, 40 days? What is it? What is your goal for the rest of this year? And then lastly is what's your goal in life? What's your goal for next year? What is the reason that you're still in real estate? What pushes you to get up every single morning and do this? What is your goal? And realize that things will crystallize for you as you're making your plans, as you go through building routines. But if you're not setting yourself goals for the day, the week, the month, the year, and then for your life, you're just existing. You're just performing. You're just living instead of thriving. And so again, it is preferred that you have some big goals, because isn't it better to aim your spear at the moon and then strike an eagle than to try to hit the eagle and only get a rock? So it's telling you to think out of the box, to think more for yourself and for your life. And if you want to do it for you, do it for your spouse, for your kids, for your grandkids, do it for your community, do it for your colleagues, do it for whatever motivates you. And so do it for that, but think bigger and go out there and get it done. So I will continue to read, and today I will multiply my value 100-fold. The height of my goals will not hold me in awe, though I may stumble often before they are reached. If I stumble, I will rise, and my falls will not concern me, for all men must stumble often to reach the earth. Only a worm is free from the worry of stumbling because they live in the ground. I am not a worm. I am not an onion plant. I am not a sheep. I am a man. I am a person. Let others build caves with their clay. I will build a castle with my clay. So again, do you just want to exist? Do you want to be where everybody's always been? Do you want to be living in mediocrity? If that's where you're at, just kind of, I'm okay where I'm at? Or do you want something a little bit more? If it's not your castle, what is it that you want to give back? And so again, these are just analogies here, but get it to motivate you. So today I will multiply my value 100-fold. And just as the sun must warm the earth to bring forth seedlings of wheat, so too will the words on these scrolls warm my life and turn my dreams into reality. Today I will surpass every action which I performed yesterday. I will climb today's mountain to the utmost of my ability, yet tomorrow I will climb a higher mountain than today, and the next will be higher than tomorrow, and surpass the deeds of others that are unimportant. To surpass my own deeds is all. Don't compare yourself with others. Don't compare yourself to your siblings, to your spouse, to anybody else, to your colleagues, to the person in your office. Don't compare yourself to the top agent or whoever it is you're comparing yourself to. It is your race. It is your life. Simply do more than you did the day before. If yesterday you didn't make one phone call, if you made one phone call today, you did better than yesterday. If today you made two phone calls, sorry, one phone call, and tomorrow make two. And then the next day do three, and then do four, and just do one more thing than the day before, because you have to surpass your own deeds. This is where it's at. It's not in comparison to others. It's not what has anybody else done. It's what are you doing today that is better than yesterday. So today I will multiply my value 100-fold. And just as the warm wind guides the wheat to maturity, the same winds will carry my voice to those who will listen, and my words will announce my goals. Once spoken, I dare not to recall them, lest I lose face. So once you say I'm going to do it, don't bring it back. Don't have fear, just keep going forward. So I will not lose face. I will be as my own prophet, and though all may laugh at my utterances, they will hear my plans and they will know my dreams. And thus there will be no escape for me until my words become accomplished deeds. It's okay if people laugh at your goals. It's okay if people don't believe in your goals. It's okay if you're a brand new agent and you say you're going to do 30 houses this year and people are going to look at you like you're funny, like almost nobody sells 30 houses a year. Or you say, I'm going to do 24 houses a year. That's two a month. For some people, they might think you're crazy. You're brand new at this. How are you going to do that? It's okay. Keep moving forward. And if you don't do 24 this year, maybe you'll do eight, and that's more than anybody thought you would do. And maybe next year you do 10 or 16. And maybe in 3 or 4 years, you're doing 24, and then 28, and then 32, and then 40, and then 50. So you see, don't compare yourself to anybody else. And it's okay if people don't believe in you, so long as you believe in yourself. And don't forget the previous scrolls, which is the golden rule, one of them anyways, to treat people honestly and fairly. And so long as you're doing the right thing, doing business the right way, you will do good and you will continue to grow. But today I will multiply my value 100-fold by believing in myself. Let's roll. These scrolls are meant to be written 30 days in a row, right? So can you imagine really kind of getting the best of this, maybe making some bullet points and just reading it over and over and over so it becomes part of your routine? So I will commit not to the terrible crime of aiming too low. I will do the work that failure will not do. So again, I won't give up. When people give up, that's failure. Failure is not going to keep getting up and making the phone calls, keep knocking on the doors. Third one here is I will always let my reach exceed my grasp. I will never be content with my performance in the market. I will always raise my goals as soon as they are attained. I will always strive to make the next hour better than this one. I will always announce my goals to the world, because then once you've spoken it, you kind of got to live up to it. Yet never will I proclaim my accomplishments. Let the world instead approach me with praise, and I may have the wisdom to receive it in humility. Today I will multiply my value 100-fold. One grain of wheat, when multiplied 100-fold, will produce 100 stalks. Multiply these 100-fold, 10 times over and over, keep planting the seeds, and they will feed all the cities of the earth. I am not more than a grain of wheat. Today I will multiply my value 100-fold. And when it is done, I will do it again and again. And there will be an astonishment of wonder at my greatness as the words of these scrolls are fulfilled in me. Because if I don't give up, what it's telling you here on what you see on the page is if you don't give up, if you can just stop giving up and just keep moving forward. Sounds easy, but it's not. Life will get in the way, distractions will get in the way, people will get in the way, people will say things and do things. But if you just keep doing one more thing than you did yesterday, one additional phone call, one additional door knock, one additional positive reaction, one additional social media post, whatever it is, do one more. And when you do it again and again and again, in time, people will look back and say, man, how did that person get there? How did so and so get so much success in real estate? They did it so quickly. Because you can change your life in just a matter of years in real estate, where people can't do it in a lifetime or generations. How many of you know, whether it's yourself, your family, or other people that you know that get stuck in that victim mentality, and for generations they've been stuck there? And who's gonna finally, shake them loose? Nobody can do it for you. You got to do it for yourself. And so, are your goals too big? Not if you don't let your ego get in the way. Make them big, but don't think that you're better than anybody. Just keep working to do the best for your clients. And when you're doing it with the right intentions and with the best intention possible, and treating people the right way, and doing one more thing, adding one more additional value to what you provide a client, then some people will look back in astonishment. Could be a couple years, could be a decade, could be, you're in the business 20 years and finally you look back and like, man, this has been a great ride. It hasn't been an easy ride, but it's been a good ride. And so again, these words of these scrolls are fulfilled in me. Practice the scrolls. That's the end of this scroll. We have two more scrolls next week, but I want to go back to you and to what's in the chat. Turn the negativity into a positive. Yeah, I mean that's what it is. Somebody put that on the chat. But does anybody have anything that can relate? Can you look back at your success in life or in real estate and think, man, how did I get here? I didn't even intend to be in this business. Yet here I am, right? Does anybody have stories like that they can share?
I could
I
say
have
one
something,
thing.
Mike. Oh,
Oh, go
Let's go.
ahead, Lena. You go.
okay. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'm not visual today because I took a small little getaway in Monterey, and I decided I was not going to put on makeup. So anyway, I do not want to do that to anybody. I just want to say, Mike, that this really, this book, and I read a lot of books and listen to a lot of things, and I probably would have never really thought to read this book.
Yeah.
Because, it's a little,
Me
when you
either.
first started reading it, you're like, yeah, it's like, well, I went to church. That's what kind of what it sounds like. Yeah. But I could truly say that I have from the day one, I have read. Sometimes I only do 2 times a day because I forget, but I have religiously been reading scroll number 1, and now I look forward to it. Like, because now we're on day 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like this book is so vital to your state of mind, and I think your state of mind runs everything else. Before you
It
can
really
make
does.
goals, before you can do all these other things, you have to get your state of mind straight. And in this business, and what I've been doing it 15 years, your state of mind is always at state, right? Because you're
Yeah.
right. Someone pisses you off, or you have a bad, an agent on the other side. And, if you can keep your state of mind stable, I think all these other things fall into mind. So I just want to thank you for, introducing this
Sharing
to
this.
us. And I love it. And I can't wait to get to the second scroll, but it's hard because I'm like, well, wait, what's in the second scroll? But I think staying in the same scroll is vital. And there's so much wisdom in this whole thing, and I'm very excited about it. It really has changed my life. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Well, thank you for sharing. I got to tell you, when, looking back for me, again, 7 years I had this book. It was given to me by somebody who thought more of me than I thought of myself, apparently. And when I finally read it, I'm like, man, this information's been there for 7 years. And now when I revisit the book, and I revisit it once a year, maybe once every other year, depends on what's going on in my life. And I learn I interpret things slightly different almost every single time. Sometimes some things are the same, but there's always something that hits me in just a different way. And life will challenge you. And you have to remember that this too shall pass. And if you don't set yourself goals, then you're just kind of existing in your natural ability. But in order to do more, have more, and be more, then you got to push yourself, and no one's going to do it for you. And it's not about having more for the sake of flaunting having more. It's that when you have more, you can do more good. And they say that money exemplifies or amplifies who you are. And so if you're somebody that believes in giving back to the community, then when you do better, you can do more good things for the community. When you do better, you can do more things for your family. If you're an animal lover like it is in my house, then you can do more things for that. If there's causes in your life that you believe in, you can do more for that. But when you're struggling to make ends meet, then you're just struggling to survive. And so if you can get very good at what you do, you can not just survive, you can thrive. And you can be an example for people in your family and people around you and people in your community that anybody can do it if they're willing to work hard enough. It sounds simple. In reality, it is simple. It's just not easy. Consistency in life is one of the hardest things to maintain. Sandra, over to you.
Oh, I was just going to say, sharing your goals. I mean, that's part of this. And reflecting on them, visualizing them. I'm a true believer on to visualize everything. So I remember
Yeah.
years ago when I first got into real estate, I really did not have a lot of confidence at all. I thought I was way above what I should be doing, but I kept going. And I remember I really wanted to sell $4 million one year. I mean, I was just like, I have to sell $4 million this year. And had 4 million all over little sticky notes in my car, on the mirror. And, people would come to our house or get in my car and they'd be like, what is that? So sharing with people and putting it out there and not being afraid, I think, and I did sell 4 million that year. Um, it really visualizing and making those goals on a daily basis, it really does. It can, make your life different.
Yeah. Yeah. It really, yeah. There's so much that we can learn and take from these scrolls. More importantly, is you have to be ready to do the work. I want to see if I can find something real quick because we still got a few minutes. I want to show you the power of a vision board. See if I can find the story. Has anybody heard of The Secret, the book, The Secret? Oprah had it, everybody had it.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I want to
Really
share a
good.
story. This is ad lib. I didn't plan to do this because this book is not about that. But on your screen right now, you should see uh, John Assat, and that's John there. He was involved with the Secret, one of the authors. And if you go and ever look at his story, again, this is 2021, but if you look at his story before all that happened in the 90s, it's actually right here. In 1995, he created the vision board to put up on his wall in his home office. Whenever he saw the materialistic things that he wanted to go on a trip, do certain things, but he worked really, really hard. And in 2000, he moved to Southern California a few weeks earlier. He was sitting at his office. So again, this is 5 years later. He put this vision board together. As he was unpacking and going through his vision board, he realized that the house that he bought was the house that he had put on his dream home 4 years earlier.
Mhm. Yes.
And that was just a side effect. It was just a psychological seed that he planted through this board, and he just kept working and working in life and trying to achieve his goals. And then 5 years later, the house that he moved into, by pure chance, he didn't even realize that he had forgotten about that original board because it did one yearly. Pulled it up and like, my God, I bought the exact house, and it just kind of struck him like this stuff really works. And hence that's how The Secret was born, or at least that version of it or that iteration of it. So in life, what you believe matters, and what you think about yourself matters. And if you let the negativity of the world get into your brain, it can get you down. So I will laugh at the world, which was scroll number 7, is really important because don't take yourself too seriously. People will say things, people will do things will happen in life that'll bring you down. But remember this, it's not in the scrolls, but I hope you guys have all heard this. A ship doesn't sink because of all the water around it, no matter how big the storm is and how big the waves are. A boat and a ship will sink because of the water that gets into it. So it's okay if you're in a stormy part of your life right now. If it's raining and storming, don't let it in. Don't let it into your mindset. Don't own it. Let it be what it is. Let people do what they're going to do. Just keep living life. And so set yourself some goals, have some dreams. Remember, don't take yourself too seriously. Run your own race. Don't compare yourself to others, and just try to enjoy life. And when it's tough to do that, this too shall pass. And again, the holidays are one of my favorite part of the year. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday, in part because we get the family together and there's a food and everybody's there, but they're not the expectations of gifts. I think, at least for me personally, Christmas has been over commercialized, and so there's like this almost like this responsibility of having to do gifts. And so, although I really enjoy Christmas and I really like doing the gifts and doing the things with the kids, for me, the stress of not having that added part makes Thanksgiving one of my favorite, well, my favorite holiday period. And so, what is it for you? I enjoy the holidays because I have people to enjoy it with, but for some people, it's hard. Some people are alone. And some people don't have good memories of the holidays, or some people had it very difficult when they were kids, and these weren't positive memories. And you got to learn to break free, and you got to learn to move forward and to get out of that mindset that maybe you were raised in, or that not you were raised in, but that mindset that is so normal because it was our normal growing up. And so remember to move forward, to stay positive, to improve your skill set and the value that you provide your clients, one step at a time, one tiny thing at a time. Do one more than you did yesterday, one more than the day before that. Just keep adding one thing of value. And that thing might be that today you read this contract. Today you print up the BRBC so you know how to explain it to a buyer. Tomorrow you might do the listing agreement. Then you might do the contract. Then you go through all of these forms that are ever changing, and then you learn them and you feel comfortable with them, and then you work on some scripts. And that way, when you have a customer, whether it's a buyer, seller, investor, you feel comfortable with it, and the genuine you comes through. I mean, we had this great presentation here by a personal trainer, a guy who grew up in a very, very hard life, made it to the NFL for a couple of years, and now he's a personal coach. And when he was going off the script, he signed it scripted. When I told him to go off script, his natural energy came through. It was a night and day difference. And so for you, when you're working with a client of any kind, buyer, seller, investor, when you don't know the contract, when you don't know the scripts, when you don't know the forms, the genuine you is not coming through, but rather the nervous version of you that doubts yourself because you just don't know the contract well enough or the scripts well enough. And so I really want you to learn this business that you're in, the scripts that you're in, the contracts that you're in, to where they become second nature to you. And I don't care how long you've been in the business, these forms keep changing on us. And so go and relearn them, restudy them, read them. They're boring. Nobody wants to read them, but it is our job to understand them. And when you do that, the genuine you will come forth and people will want to do business with you. So that's all that I have for today. If anybody has any stories to share, please put them in there. But thank you. I hope this was helpful to some of you. I hope it was good. I hope you took something from it. Next week is my last turn at the book. And then somebody, I mean, Sandra, I don't know if you're next, somebody else is next, but next week I have the last two scrolls and we'll move forward. Thank you,
Okay.
everybody.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Of course.
Hey,
Bye.
can I chat with you a minute?
Of course. Absolutely.
Just 1 second.
Of course.